I'm on the train back home. Now, I love Essex because it's, I don't care if I love it because it's my friends are, and because I can breathe better without smelling pollution.
Hive.
But it's a disappointment and it's a catastrophe that I live in London. If my mum did move, she said she would move towards my Nan and Grandad live, which is east, which is Maidenhead, but I don't want to move east. I want to move some friends since then, somewhere near that wouldn't be too far to my friends. Too far to my friends and have too much pollution. Now it's becoming a problem because whenever I go home, I feel like I can't breathe every day. Now let's get into the key detail why I hate London, which I just said if you didn't hear. For one, pollution. When I go home, I feel like I can't breathe because my chest feels literally tight. I might go to the doctors because that shouldn't be happening. However, I think it's due to the pollution because when I went to see my friends who live in not where they live, but they live somewhere in Essex, I could breathe better and I couldn't smell pollution. The town I live in, which is Chinkford, is going downhill as it is. There's too much vape shops. There's already been a fire at my local subway. There's been a couple stabbings in Chinkford. It's not the same as it used to be because they used to have a toy shop, two Bernados. I get why they removed one of the Bernados. They didn't need two Bernados, but they should have kept the one they had open, the bigger one. No. Now the option for buses is okay, or quite boring actually, because they don't have a lot of different liveries. They unfortunately don't have all different liveries, and I wouldn't be able to see older cars or buses because they don't have older cars. They don't have older cars. They're modern cars of the years thing.
Colchester.
Modern buses that are red.
London, Liverpool Street. Next station, Whittam.
And I couldn't move towards Maidenhead, which is east, because the houses are too expensive. Because my mum didn't want to move to Essex or Clacton or somewhere my friends live. Then I would have to move somewhere towards their location that isn't Essex, because I don't want to live in London no more, since that's not doing good for my health. Number two, my sister. It's not doing good for my sister's mental health living in London, because she's very unpredictable, and if she moved, I think she would not want to move. She doesn't like moving because she doesn't want anyone seeing her bedroom. But that would mean we'll have to but if we moved, we'll have to leave my sister in London. Keep her staying in her bedroom, because she doesn't want anyone to see her bedroom. So that's the point. But I want to move because if I can't breathe, I'll die. Because you do know asthma is even worse, and I could gain asthma if I couldn't breathe. However, my friend Henry only had a bad cough today because he was sick. No. Oh, I just saw a test train. Well, pretty cool. But I didn't get to film that in time. However, London messed up my brother because of his OCD and not getting enough help. The Waltham Forest Council are shit because they do shit all for people since they don't help my mum when she calls them. They take ages on the annoying Hulk music. They take ages to pick up, and they don't help my mum because last time she called them for help because she needed my brother to have housing or something sorted out, because they wouldn't let my brother had to rent, since they wouldn't let my brother buy his own house since she didn't have the money, and my mum couldn't have done that because he's a grown adult and she needs him to have independence. But the council only listen when she's completely had enough and she's crying about it. I know Nigel Farage, maybe not, but I know Nigel Farage used to be the MP of Clacton, but that's because maybe he still is. Don't know, I believe he's not living in Clacton anymore. However, they went for, I think, Tory, or not Tory. Well, the other team won, which is still bad. But But the things I like about Clacton or anywhere in Essex is that because most of the town centres are better. They have lots of different bus liveries. And they don't stick to one that's just a red bus. My friends live there. You can go to the beach without having to drive miles away, or just an hour away. They have old cars, and so on and so on. The reason why I hate living in London, because like I mentioned, the pollution and the way my house is becoming ugly, and the road I live on, and the way how dangerous Chinkford is becoming, and the way how London, I think Chinkford is, I don't live in London, is doing good for my system mental health. You know how my brother went. He didn't go too well because and my dad doesn't live in London anymore because he wants to move back to Hereford, which is too far away. But I don't give a fuck about that because he couldn't cope with living in London and his house has been ruined. However, I'll do an update if I become ill in hospital or I just lie on the floor because I can't breathe. And as it is, I think my sister would become more unpredictable if we moved, and because she doesn't want to move. But it'll be do better for her mental health, even though she might become more unpredictable. And I wouldn't give a toss. If she stayed in London and I moved. I told my mum if I could move independently. No, she said I'm not old enough, and she said I wouldn't be able to stand out to move since I had to do things now. And my mum said she wants to move towards the rental house. But when I was right, most of those houses were really expensive, and my mum doesn't want to redo their own house until it's already furnished. It's a good thing. But don't worry, in the summer holidays at some point I'm going for a sleepover at Henry's house. However, I had to touch my eye because I was sad about leaving, since I didn't want to leave because I didn't want the pain of having to struggle to breathe when I get home. And besides, I'm getting bored of having to go on the tube every time I want to go into central London. I know my mum wouldn't be able to go to the theatre, but that's better. I wouldn't be able to go to the theatre. But living in Essex is better than having to go to the theatre because I'm so fucking sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it. And if I do struggle, however, I'm not anaesthetic, my sister has got asthma, or she used to. However, I've lived in the same house since 2003 and I'm getting bored of it. I was born in 2007, my mum moved there. My mum moved into the house before I was born. She used to live in Walthamstow, but not the same. I don't care what age or LGBTQ plus my mum comes out as, or any of my family relatives. I'd prefer to move, and I don't care if I have. I was saying I wouldn't want to have LGBTQ plus neighbours in case they do gay stuff or lesbian stuff or anything. But I wouldn't mind that. I just want to move because I'm struggling to breathe as it is, and as you can tell, when I'm going further down back to London, my throat is becoming more gaggy, or not gaggy, more asthmatic. You can hear my throat because it feels croaky. It feels like Well, I'm not moving because my friends there. I want to move there because my friends do live there. I can't take them around the country. But the fact is I must move, or else my health will decline and I'll become asthmatic and have to use an asthma pump. And I hope I don't become so asthmatic I'm like Nick, that guy on TikTok who has to wear a face mask in bed that goes no. But whatever. But if I move, that'll be better for my health and better for my mentality. The immigrants, or should I say the migrants. Well, I know it doesn't count because of the Henry Newark incident that happened where an immigrant stabbed Henry Newark and he got arrested. And as he was getting arrested, he said he couldn't breathe. We clearly stated that you could see on the news. The police ignored his injuries, although he was stabbed. They didn't believe him. Also, if you want to know about Wisdom and Wayne Blue, they didn't trust him. No, they didn't. Fuck me. No, they didn't. They didn't trust him. He was the one arrested since he. Right, but no, the man. I think that's the Dane Allen or whatever his name was the victim. Was the man who stabbed him, and he was an immigrant. It doesn't excuse him being an immigrant. And any LGBTQ or race can actually be a victim of being stabbed, or be the person that does get stabbed, which isn't good. No. Terrible scenes. However, I'm not trying to say this as a racist way, but
Welcome to this service
due to the fact that I live in Chingford means that
we will be
means all the immigrants are opening those Mickey Mouse shops, and most of them are phone shops. And whenever I've been to one of those phone shops or vape shops, they've all been owned by someone from a different country. Kebab World is the only one that isn't an immigrant organisation, because the Englishman has to employ people from different countries that don't know a word of English, since they work harder than British people, although the owner himself is British. And still think they should. I know there will still be people from different countries in Essex, but they wouldn't open as many Mickey Mouse shops, which means that illegal vape shops, illegal shops, but they'd open it illegally. No. And London is worse for stabbings because of how it can be, and how it can be, and how the fact that the train operators in London are not very good. But still, you don't shoot it, because people are being stabbed left, right, and centre. Even people that are getting sentenced to. But Henry Newark's incident is the worst one, since his parents were sad because he died in prison, since they arrested him despite he said he couldn't breathe and he was stabbed. It was so sad, it was fucking on the news. It didn't excuse the Belfast one, but people like that in Belfast have been causing riots for fucking years. There was even a Tottenham riot one time. I Richie Sunak was and also Richie Sunak was the only Asian Prime Minister. But for example, I'm not saying it could be the Prime Minister, but but that would be ridiculous if they gave up on Prime Ministers and they decided to make Kenny Jackett Prime Minister. He couldn't be, because he's a retired man from football. But still, the Mickey Mouse shops and the stabbings are fucking awful. And that does include the immigrants, because there can also be white British people that choose to stab people. But they do, in rare occasions, they do have guns in the UK, but that's on the police, and on rare occasions they do have shootings. But not as much as they do in America. Which is the cause of our obesity in the UK, like my friend Jaden said. And yes, it is the cause of our obesity, because America started off with KFC, McDonald's doing sugary snacks, Pop Tarts. First it was America who was fat. There's no songs that was skinny, but most of America was fat. Then they opened. Then the first place in Europe to have their KFC branch was I'm not sure about McDonald's, but the first KFC branch in Europe was opened in the UK, which is the cause of our obesity. And let me get this straight: my local KFC, not every KFC, but my local KFC is so dirty, because when I went to the toilet one time, there was loads of brown shit all over the seats, and that was vile. I needed to loo. I was going to hold it in, but no, I literally had to pull my legs by the side just to go to the toilet and have a piss, and that. They don't clean it, do they? No. I bet that poo's still there at my local KFC, which is in Chingford. It's gone all crusty, and it probably has, because the second bit. Oh, let me say a story before I tell you a bit about it. One time, for Halloween, I brought a fake hand into KFC, put it on the counter, and the workers screamed because they thought it was a real hand. However, the fact is, my local plant is been burnt down, not dealt with. My local Boots was turned into was rented out to turn into a children's place or nursery. But the fact is, what I was going to say is KFC, the workers, I'm not saying it's in every branch, but in my local branch, they employ workers that don't know a clue of English, and we can't hardly understand it. They are Indian, most of them are, but they're probably only Hindi speakers or only know a little bit of English and only speak Hindi. Mostly speak much Hindi and only know a little bit of English because the fact is I know not everyone who speaks Hindi or anyone from India just knows Hindi, but those workers only know Hindi since when I was asking, you have to ask them clearly, because if you ask them normally, they'll just say, what's that? Chicken, popcorn chicken. I think like that, instead of popcorn chicken, you have to go popcorn chicken. They don't have a clue of what I'm saying. And they're very rude in there. And there was also last time I went to there was a rude fat woman. There was a rude fat woman on benefits that said I don't have enough money for KFC, and saying he wants the effing food. She was on benefits, and I think the DPD was gonna come down to KFC. The DPD come down to KFC to claim benefits, to tell her that she's illegally claiming benefits by having loads of children, and and saying her weight was of her back problems. It doesn't even excuse ugly or pretty people. Even sexy people can also be arrested, as they can also cause a crime. It doesn't matter how you look. Also, the oldest worker was KFC was in a different branch of. Oh, there's Balagu Park. I went there the other time. However, it's just not how it is. Or would that be? I don't know, but it's just not how it is. No, it is not fucking how it is. Because when I went to KFC with my carer Jason, we ordered my mum could order a counter because when you every time you go there, you go to the counter, they say, order over there, but that's the counter, we want to order at the till, they order there, and when you go over there, it's fine, how to order it, they ask you you can pay at the counter, ask you for a receipt, and if you don't get a receipt, they said the receipt comes out from the machine, which is actually the answer, but when it does come out of the machine, they don't understand what you're saying. They don't understand what you're saying. They don't understand a clue what you're saying. And also, when I went to KFC last time, a man was ordering over 152 chicken wings and burgers. And then he didn't. But then all he had to do after that was press add to order. But he didn't know how to do that. Instead he added all that and then went to the counter and only asked for 50 nuggets. 50 wings. Unlike McDonald's, that would have made Jaden's belly wobble if that was on machine doing chicken nuggets, because he would have get involved to help that. But no, he couldn't come like that. However,
we are now approaching
it's just not so. I don't mind my local McDonald's because they actually have employed people of all different races that understand English.
The British Transport Police on 610.
They at least have to do something for my local KFC. They should tell all the workers to go for an English course, or go to college and do English course, since they won't be eligible for university. I just learn English because I don't know why they employ those workers, those fucking immigrants. And if we had, and I hope the kids meal is available in Wallabies in the UK. Actually, I think it's not, because in America, Wallabies, someone went there to get every kids meal they had, because they were going to every fast food chain in America to get all different kids meals. They went to the Wallabies and they tried to get the kids meal, but they were told it's only available in the Philippines. That's not the point. Oh, this video's been on for 9 minutes. However, it's not justiceable. It's not like they can get the point. It's not. No. I don't think Colonel Sanders gave a toss about employing people from India. No, it wasn't him who employed him from India. He was the one who made the original. Although on my local KFC, he looks kind of Chinese. When there's a picture of him, he looks kind of Chinese. Although he's American, he first opened his first branch in Kentucky, and apparently if you're black, you can't go to Kentucky in America, because because Kentucky is one of the most racist towns in America. Since when I told my carer Jason, who's black, we could go to Kentucky, he said I wouldn't like to go there because I'm black and they don't like black people there. So Kentucky must be racist. When Aisha Speed went there, they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything racist. No, it's just not justifiable how they maybe. But I think the owner of the Chinkford branch, the boss of the Chinkford KFC was the one who employed them. They do the food correctly, I know, but sometimes it's bad, but what doesn't matter? And sometimes it's bad, and sometimes it's not. But then they leave the toilet in a graffitied up fucking horrible state. I know it's a small toilet, but it's fucking horrible. So if you're wondering, the smallest CX to Essex is Canvey Island, but still not justifiable, because I'm not discussing that between why I hate living in London. And any place in London you can find crime, although Hackney's the worst one. And I'm glad they don't have Hooters in the UK. I mean, many Hooters in the UK, significant in the UK, but more in America, but less for non-Chinkford. But still, if they open a knockoff, they would need to make all the employees look like prostitutes, and that's what they do in the Hooters, where they show all their tits. And noticeably, they Speed couldn't show the workers since he didn't want to get demonetised off YouTube when he went to the Norwich Hooters, which is one of the few branches in the UK. Also, fun fact, there's a army shop in Norwich where you can buy a really cool army stuff. It's not justifiable. It's not right to. I think if they had to, they should fire all the workers and replace them with British-speaking ones, or at least. But it's still not fair that they've been fired because they don't speak much English unless you speak clear. No, they should tell the workers it's mandatory that they go for an English course at the local university, because they couldn't be accepted for college and they're too old for that. And it's mandatory because they need to learn English since they're not deaf when they go. Popcorn, can I have popcorn chicken, please? What was that? Real popcorn chicken. What's that? I don't speak a word of English. What was that? I don't know word of English. I don't know in English. What? Popcorn chicken. Oh, popcorn chicken. Use the counter. Use the.
This is the service to London Liverpool Street.
Use the monitor. Not the monitor. Use the use the screen over there. You pay it to the counter. No, but we want to pay at the counter. No, pay over there. And when you want to pay there, if they don't understand what you're saying, or they say pay over there on the till, pay over there on the machine, or they take the money. Or if you don't get a receipt, or you must get a receipt, they say no, you must get a receipt. That's over there. No, it's not every branch, every branch of KFC, because some branches of KFC have English speaking workers. It's still not justifiable. I think the easy way to put it is the workers at KFC in Chinkford need to slap up the arse and a mandatory lesson at their local university of English, because they don't speak a word of English and they only speak a little bit of English. Otherwise they wouldn't know a single word if they didn't speak any English. So that's why they only know a little bit of English, and they don't speak a little bit of English, and they speak mostly Hindi, since in India they speak Hindi, or don't know any other language. They don't speak Saudi, they don't speak Arabic. They speak that in Pakistan and places like that. They speak Hindi. It's not like everyone who goes to KFC. It's not like everyone who lives in Chinkford speaks Hindi. No. I'm afraid that's not how it works. I don't count delivery drivers, since most of the time my mum wants to order takeaway, they know English. But it doesn't count me at Kebab World, because the person serving you knows English, but then the actual person cooking doesn't. But in Kebab World, they've got two workers. They've got a man from Cyprus who knows English, and the boss, who's actually sometimes working there, is English himself. But then I know why he doesn't employing people that know English that were from the UK. He employs people from different countries because he knows they work hard, and he's only got one woman who works as the chef, and I think she's a woman. I think she's either a woman from Algeria or either Algeria or Albania. I think Albania, because she kept speaking Albanian, and you have to speak very clearly to her, but she doesn't understand much of the English people. However, also for old people in my local Sainsbury's, there's not many tills open, so that means they wouldn't understand, because they don't understand how to use self-checkout, and they're not always open. I don't know if there's much graffiti, I don't think there's not, but the local stadium, which is technically in the outskirts of Chingford, has the sign broken, and my mum finds my local big Sainsbury's, which is on which is on Crooked Billet, which is like, my mum finds that too big, despite I think it's fine. However, if you're going to areas like Walthamstow, that's the nearest place that's got loads of people from different countries, but it's really dirty there, and Walthamstow has gone majorly downhill. My friend's granddad, Jaden, when he used to drive, he went down Walthamstow town centre by accident, and he shouldn't have, but that was when he forgot it wasn't drivable by the time how it used to be drivable. Some of the shops have changed since. It's not. It smells like kind of those homeless people. I know someone's been Clacton, but still, it's not just. It's just not justable. However, so let's get on to the next text, or the next topic. 3. The buildings. Now, it's not like Chingford is having unprotected sex with Walthamstow. No, that's not how it is. I know the only pub in Chingford now is the Wishing Well pub and the Kingsford pub, but technically you get walk from North Chingford, yes I know, but I don't count that, I'm counting South Chingford. I know, but if you're to a bus spot in Chingford, you would only get the same usual crap buses, which are still nice, but the livery isn't adjustable. It's like I'm talking about the buildings. Now they changed the thing to shop next to Pizza Hut to this weird tea shop. It's fine that they have a mosque, but that doesn't look really nice. That looks like a shop. So there is a Asian community in Chingford, but there isn't as much as Walthamstow. However, the Royston Arms used to be opposite the road from the mosque, next to the petrol station. But when that shut down, that meant the pavement outside of it was made smaller, and they put this ugly building with flats on top of it. That's a gym next to a nursery. It's not adjustable, and you can see building. You don't have no countryside areas. No, you can see buildings for miles. I know my mum would probably not be able to go to the theatre, but I don't care. I would prefer to move. But if my mum doesn't book me book my return ticket, if you are going to spend any still within her or something like that again. If my mum doesn't book a later return ticket next time, I'll not be happy. I'll protest. I'll shout at her if she does that. Until she thinks she's booking me the ticket.
We are now approaching Ingate.
But if it does happen, if I go to see my friend Henry in the holidays, it'll likely be for a sleep purpose, since that's the whole point. But I don't want to ever have to go home that early. I know it's quite late, but I say it's early because what I had time to do was eat my McDonald's, and that was it. I shouldn't have had the chance to eat McDonald's. I should have had the chance to do a little bit more. No, it's not adjustable. Well, it just isn't adjustable, no. Then, the petrol station was left getting run down. They've got rid of that barber shop I can't remember the name of, which had a man who looked like a knockoff young version of Colonel Sanders, which could have been called Young Sanders. The shop next door used to be a flower shop, made yellow and become a vape shop. which is next. But I'm so glad South Shinkford Library has got its new sign, but I still preferred it if it was the old sign, but better. But the only thing I'm glad about the changes of it is that that crappy tuck shop that is on the edge, that is on the opposite side of the road from Wenzel's, which used to be Shoe Zone, which if you take someone to words out Shoe Zone, it becomes Ho Zone. However, that became a Wenzel's, yes I know, but the other side became not so recovery, I mean a knuckle from my belly. So that became a British Heart Foundation. They had a Boots, which was really good, but that shut down, became the nursery. The Bernardo's they had two, they didn't need two. I'm glad they shut one of them down. But when they left the big one open, and then closed that, they shouldn't have. Most of the banks are not open anymore, and Nationwide is my only bank left. No. Chingford is becoming a shit place to live because of the way it has all the shops. I'm going to tell my mum that, but she's probably not going to move. If I got clipped around the ear hole, clipped around the ear hole, and bulged into the bulge by a pen, I'll still not want to live in Chingford, even if someone, the most sexiest person of them all came possible, or any person, the girl came along and said, "You're sex now. Oh, it's a bum you. Don't have a bulge in my foot." I would still not want that. I would still not be happy. Oh, I'm at Stone. However, it's just not the same. However, it's not adjustable. Like I said earlier, there'll still be an update if I become harder to breathe, but making it this other side so much say more than TikTok. Also, I can get a Great Anglia card because from my mum and messages that was like the oysters. I wouldn't need to get tickets every time now. So maybe Shenford, I really can't remember where my friend Henry, his dad told me it would be cheaper to go to, but it's easier to go on trains since his dad now finds it harder to drive to London since that's miles away from where he lives now, and going on train would make me so I had like longer there. Also, it's still funny when I know it's an accident, and I'm sorry that I stepped on Nellie's foot, or maybe tail, but it was funny when she made that sound. I was touching my eye because I'm sick of living in London. As well, on the way back, I was sad to leave, I didn't want to leave from London. It's not good for my health. It doesn't do justice. And if I lived in Wivenhoe, I'd get to spot trains at night. It still doesn't do it justice. But I guess it would have to take longer to go to see my friend if I moved, because my mum's stubborn, and she's been like a stubborn little fucker, or a little baby, because she doesn't want to move any. So I guess it'll have to be further for my friend Henry to visit me in Perth to go and see them. But I'm still not happy that my mum booked that train that early. I didn't want to go home that early. And my tutoring I do is boring me out, but I still have to do it. It's just not the same. No. However, I'd have to employ America's company Team Trees, Team Trees, to come down to Chingford and put more trees down so I could breathe better, because apparently trees make it better. But that'll be the option if I can't move. But I'll still have an asthma prompt and I'll need to start physics and shit, but it's not justice since most of the buildings don't look that nice. And it's really hard to do car spotting because most of the cars are shit. And my friend Henry, his house is a weird one. We have to go upstairs for the living room. Upstairs a bit more, and still the living room upstairs will get painted, I think, the same colour as the house in Walthamstow. In Woodford, when I used to live at Gascoigne Gardens. It's not justifiable though. But it's not like when you go to any of the shops in Chingford, you're being fucked in the arse for prices. No, I'm not. It doesn't excite me because Chingford has gone downhill. Chingford is such a horrible state it's been in. I can't even wank about it or have a cry. No, It's not worth someone to cry about it. It ain't worth a toss. And I ain't giving a dog's dinner about any of that. I just can't, it's not adjustable. Number 5. Mental health. Now I'm mentioning that again because I got to get more into detail about that bollocks since you know. First of all, my brother ended up in a mental hospital because of his mental health. And I don't know why, but before he lived in a house, he didn't have a house to live in, he was living in accommodation. And the council wouldn't let him, the NHS wouldn't let him get mental health because he had to go to get therapy. He said it's shit in the house, real mental health, but he doesn't get it much. However, he however, he didn't used to get it because he didn't actually live in a house. Now he lives in a flat, but just accommodation. But they still think he's homeless, so they won't let him get mental health. No one says he's refusing to go therapy, but she's unpredictable as it is. I don't know if moving will make her more predictable, but in that case, I'll be an only child soon if my sister gets kicked out of the house. But in that case, if we move and she doesn't want to, we can't compromise. We'll just have to move, and my sister will probably be left at home, and she'll have to pay the bills if she doesn't have something to pay to live there. Fuck that. But no, it's not adjustable. No. You know how my brother went down the wheelie bin with his mental health. It's gotten quite bad actually. He's sometimes nice, but other than that, it's gotten quite bad. He went to a mental hospital one time. My mum did that. Still not happy with my mum, but mental health wouldn't make with a patient if I moved. I think I'd be sad if I moved because I don't want to leave my house, but I'd still be happy at the same time because I would get to live somewhere else in the solution. But I'd beg my mum not to move east if I did move, because I hate moving east. I'd be so depressed if I moved east, and I'd be much more happier to move like either to Clacton or Colchester or Ivanhoe or somewhere in Essex or somewhere that isn't too far, but not adjustable. Mental health can be in any place, but my sister it's so bad. I hate seeing her face every day, but it's not an adjustable fact. However, if my sister's mental health stops becoming unpredictable and becomes even worse, then I'll have to report her to the police or put her in a mental hospital myself, or because my mum is putting her foot down and not moving, and she's being a stubborn bitch or stubborn baby because she doesn't have the guts to move because she wants to be able to go to the theatre and she wants to be able to not have to go east. It's a buggeration to go east. Operation to have to go to Clacton, she wants to go east. If I go to KFC next, and also if I go to KFC next time and the workers do not understand me, I'll just say the bloody world got to learn some English because I'm sick of it. We want what we want from KFC. It's not justice. You're doing a bad job here because you don't speak good English. And I think so clearly a little bit of English and more Hindi. Why the fuck would you work in a KFC or a job where to speak if you don't know a word of English? Get a job where you don't have to speak. But still, the mental health society crap, the council is crap, and the NHS mental health is crap. Anything about it is shit. However, the mental health is not good, and if you choose to live in London, that's wrong because you'll die since you have mental health. London will mental health, there'll be stabbings, there'll be bad looking buildings, there'll be too much immigrants that don't know English, there'll be too much Mickey Mouse, and kids will be English on social fakes, so it will just be absolutely a waste of wank. It'll be not jizzy proof, no, it'll be crap. But the mental health, my brother's mental health is not good. Well, I'm getting, I think I'm mental problems, I don't know, but it's just because I have like mental health. But I'm all the way home and I'm still not happy about living in London because I have to see London. But whatever, I guess so. But yeah, I think that's the end of my rant unless I think of what else to rant on. But if not, I'll have another video. I'll only do a separate rant if I think of what else to rant. But yeah, thanks for watching today's video. Bye.